Season 2 is around the corner and we just got all the information on which agents will be on the upcoming banner. Yixuan, Ju Fufu, Astra, and Caesar. These are the next 4 limited S-rank agents coming to Zenless Zone Zero Season 2, and honestly, this is a pretty big decision for a lot of us. You have the brand new alleged best new agent coming to the game. A fusion of Lighter and Trigger that looks like a tiger, the best support in the game, and the other best support in the game who just happens to have a shield, allegedly. In today's video, I'm going to break down some solid advice about all of these characters to help you make the best decision for your account. Did I say that right? I'm pretty sure I said that right. I'm just going to give you the info so you can make the decision. You know what it is. First, we'll talk about the obvious pair of balloons in the room, Astra. She is arguably our best support in the entire game and offers players the ability to combine attack and anomaly DPS into one team. While this isn't her main purpose everyone else uses her for, she's basically an intangible giga attack boost who sings Dragon Quest hymns to buff the entire party. She's also the only agent in the game that gives teams the ability to use chain attacks outside of stun. So let's talk about why I personally wouldn't recommend her despite everything that I just said. And to be completely fair, Astra is busted. You should want her on your account, but that doesn't mean you need her. In fact, Evelyn is the only agent that absolutely wants Astra right next to her, but everyone else has an alternative or more tailored for option available. This isn't me saying that Astra is not worth pulling by any means. If you have the ability to get her and get whatever else you want, then obviously go for it. But if you have to make one simple decision, this is me saying that if you have to make a decision, then it's more important to look at your own account and justify what's already there and needs improving. Let's say you're in a position where you already have Sokaku to pair alongside your Ice DPS and Nicole for whatever other DPS you have. Are you clearing all the content in the game? If yes, then you should consider the fact that you're currently crushing the content without the strongest support, and that might help you save for the next best thing or close a gap in a team you already have. Some of you have every support in the game, but you're still missing a strong stunner. Grabbing your 98th support would not be the smartest play. And from a new player's perspective, it would actually be more beneficial for you to pick up a character like Yixuan, who is supposed to excel at maximizing her own offense and defensive capabilities regardless of the support. Speaking of which, let's talk about Yixuan next. The Grandmaster or Master Shifu of the Yinhui Summit. She is our very first Rupture agent, a brand new attack type class that uses the Auric Ink or her very own version of the Ether attribute to inflict a special version of poison onto the enemy. Rupture agents are designed to excel at both offense and defensive capabilities like I mentioned earlier, which is funny because that's exactly what the defense class was supposed to be based on, using the design we currently have in the game. The concept of Yixuan's gameplay is to deal a crap ton of damage by ignoring her enemy's defenses. She'll also be the first one to introduce the new stat to us called Sheer Force. And Rupture agents specifically will take their attack and convert more of it into this stat. Yixuan doesn't use regular energy either, by the way, but instead has something unique to her called Adrenaline. Now, from what I've personally witnessed, this works more like the drive gauge from Street Fighter 6, meaning that if you use too much of it, she goes into a burnout type of state. However, the live stream looks like they kind of took it away. I'll have a 100% confirmation once we're allowed to release our CE server footage. For now, let's just say this meter is used for all of her special attacks or unique mechanics built into her kit. Because of that, I don't expect this character to be the easiest to pick up. And the fact that she has 2 different specials, 2 different forms, multiple dodge and parry counters, charge mechanics, manual meter recovery, her very own version of perfect parry on top of that, a fucking bird, and what looks like meter specific combos. Did also forget to mention she has 2 different ultimates, which also give her a completely different form. Whatever. If the cost of having a strong, self-efficient character with a high damage output is to just learn a little bit more about the complexities of her kit, then it's worth it. We already know they've updated older support and stun agents to work with this new Rupture class too, meaning they're already a step ahead of the game and keeping our supports viable with this new class. From the previous live stream, it seems like they were really pushing this perfect control over the character, and I can only assume they're trying to heed players that each win will require them to learn a lot more than mashing 1, 2, 3. Same as before. From a new player perspective, Yixuan is sitting at the second highest value out of these 4 characters so far. But for my own preference, she's number 1. This character just looks too nutty. I love the concept of her game plan, and I can't wait to get my hands on her to test for any cool combos. We already saw a bit of action using her and Ju Fufu on the same team, so it's probably easier if we jump right into her. Right now, I think the community is going to sleep on Ju Fufu. This Tiger Girl is basically the result of combining Lighter and Trigger into one unit. This girl's kit looks absolutely busted on paper. The TLDR version of her kit is that she functions on and off the field, giving the team benefits through her own meter system called Might and Momentum. Her off-field usage is helping with decently timed stuns and a ridiculous case of AoE fire damage. She increases the damage dealt by chain attacks and ultimates while also boosting crit damage by a good amount. Then Ms. Fufu also has an infinite slash attack as if she were Wolverine from Marvel vs. Capcom. This spinning ball move helps her build momentum, but seems to have a low daze value, so I'm not entirely too sure how much I'm gonna like it. However, after she builds enough momentum, she'll automatically launch her own chain attack. And I'm putting a question mark around that because I have no idea if this is gonna work just like Evelyn's chain attack works, where she can use it outside of stun, or if Ju Fufu is just gonna start, like straight up start a chain attack. Stun, chain, you know what I mean. They even gave her auto tracking to the nearest enemy just to make sure she hits something with that big ass ball. As I said before, she looks insane on paper. I want to get my hands on her before making any final statements, but right now she is who I believe holds the most value out of all 4 characters currently on this upcoming banner. Being able to buff the entire team without excluding any one DPS is a big plus to the entire roster. Having the off-field stun support just like Trigger or Pokra makes this even better for players who want to focus more time with their on-field DPS. And then there's the Ellen buff that they just announced. This is just too good for every single person who plays the game. She is by far the character that I have my eyes on the most in order to watch their performance climb high or low on the charts. Finally, we get to the last of the banner units, and it's Caesar. This gotta be the easiest skip of your life. And no, this is not me just hating on Caesar, but I really need anyone who hears this to listen to what I'm constantly saying. Until Caesar gets a rework, there is no reason to pull her if you missed her. She's one of my favorite characters in the game, but she is no one's best in slot in every single team with any DPS. There is always a better, more dedicated support to be used compared to Caesar. If you already own her, she is an amazing crutch option for when you don't have that best in slot or want a lot more comfortability in your gameplay. But maybe you're asking me why. Let me explain. Caesar, as awesome as she is basically used as a shield bot. Put shield on agent, give agent big damage buff. That's the gist of her usage by the majority of the community. Caesar's kit on paper should be what the devs said Rupture agents are supposed to be, a fine blend of offense and defense, but Caesar lacks tremendously in the offense department. Her stun value is incredibly low compared to the actual stunners in the game, and the speed at which she does it is slower than every standard stun agent in the game. Yes, she has some solid CC with her shield throws, and the manual parry is easily one of my favorite things to do in the game, but so does Nicole, and she's free. Not the parry part, by the way, I meant the CC. Nicole is just a better support. So is Sokaku on her respective teams, and even some of the more unorthodox ones. If a player already owns Caesar, then you are significantly better off because you never have to waste pulls on her again out of demand. A new player, however, especially up against Astra, Yixuan, and Ju Fufu, has to make a hard decision with themselves on why Caesar is a better pickup versus anyone else. Mind you, if you're like me and you have Caesar in your top 5 baddies, do whatever you want. With all of that being said, the most important thing to take away from all of this is to pull for who you want. All I aim to do is share some advice on why these characters could be better or worse for your account and the value they may have. Zenless is a game that does not revolve around the meta, despite what some of the outside player base might believe. Your goal as a brand new player should be to grab whoever you have the most interest in and play them to your heart's content. If you want to turn Caesar into a DPS, the great thing about Zenless is that you can do that. I've literally done it on stream 2 months ago, just because I want to play Sword and Shield from Monster Hunter, but in Zenless. And the same thing is said about Astra. Yeah, she's the best support in the game. Yeah, it might make your account easier to be able to grind through in-game. But at the beginning of the game, there is no in-game. You should play who you want to play and enjoy having the most fun with. Something that I had to tell all of my friends whenever Zenless first came out, and they got to experience it firsthand. If you don't have a character that you vibe with, that you like to play, that feels good in your hands, that makes you want to log in and just have some fun, you are going to have the worst experience possible with Zenless Zone Zero. Why? Because there's no fun in playing a character like Astra, and she literally slams her staff in the ground, goes to sing, and then she's gone for the rest of the game. I can only imagine my advice as a content creator would be, yo, you should pull Astra because she's the best support in the game.
Oh, wow, thank you, Mr. EO. What should I do with my free standard selector?
You should pick up Soldier 11 or Nekomata as your first DPS character, even though we all talk about how they fell off very quickly, mind you, and there's no physical weak enemies at endgame. But you should invest in Nekomata over the other characters for sure. You should play Billy, actually. You know what? Go ahead and pick up Astra and just play Billy. Yo, Jimbo, I don't even. That's not a shot to Billy, bro. I'm just saying, invest into a character at the start of the game on who you want to play. If you want to play Street Fighter Kung Fu bitch, pick up Yixuan. If you want Astra because you're playing for the future and you don't care if you have to play Billy for the next 60 levels, play Billy. Or pick Astra. That's what I meant to say. If you want to turn Ju Fufu into a DPS, pick up Ju Fufu and the panda. Yeah, that works. Or if you want to play Sword and Shield and Caesar with big titties, because apparently she's like third biggest in the game. Whatever, man. If you want to hear more of my opinions about season 2 of Zenless Zone Zero, click this video right here. If you need some help trying to decide which 5-star to choose for free, join my Discord or subscribe to the channel and give me like 2 days tops to finish the vid. I promise I'm working extra hard for all of the new players coming into Zenless Zone Zero. Why did my voice crack there? Anyway, I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.